How's it going?
Very slowly.
Hi, Elliot. Hi, Carsten.
Hello.
Hey, while we're a small group, let me just introduce Rohit, who came on board Cisco and has been working on the NIPSI stuff we've been talking about. And Braden is from Philips, who's also working on it.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
So, do you have a presentation you want to pull out ad hoc? But
yeah, he's going to talk at in the middle about the stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's just talking, right, Michael? We'll do the big Prezo thing in Prague.
All right, where's the rest of the 1DM crew?
that's a good question. Oh, Niklas,
that's a DJ group, right? The 1DM crew.
Yes.
Hi guys, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, sheesh.
So I think Ari is not coming today.
I don't know. I mean, he's on parental leave,
Yes.
but I spoke with him yesterday, but I actually forgot to ask about this meeting. I will ping him.
Hey, Michael, Nicholas, I'm just sitting here in HedgeDoc. Do you want me to drop the minutes at the bottom of this HedgeDoc? Because I'll take notes.
Pardon?
So I'm sitting here in HedgeDoc, and it's got like the agenda there, and I figured,
Yep.
do you want the notes at the bottom?
Sure, that's great.
Okay.
Well, I would just type them into the agenda. I don't know why you need that.
Wherever we're at, right?
Okay, so I'll intersperse the notes. Okay.
Hi, Nicholas. I pasted your agenda into the HedgeDoc.
Sorry, I missed that one. What did you say, Michael?
I pasted your agenda into the HedgeDoc.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And I think at least Elliot is there already. And I know it says 4 people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just sort of context switching from another meeting. Sorry for being a bit, yeah.
So it's 5 past. Shall we start?
Yes, let's go. Michael, do you have the slides? Or Carsten, you want to share? I guess you had the slides.
The slides are ready to be shared. I can do that.
I'm just wondering what the actual sequence of things is going to be.
Well, we should start the meeting. Tell people about the note well, and I'll do that. Okay, so let's start here. Yes, I want to do this. There is the meeting notes. Okay, and welcome everyone. We have a number of new people. If anyone has Michael Koster on chat, you might want to remind him that we're meeting now.
They already did, yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And so this is the note well. It applies to all IETF meetings and applies to this meeting. There it starts with a bunch of stuff about intellectual property. If you know of any, then you need to disclose it. And if you have any questions, then you should talk to one of the chairs or area director. And then it goes on about different processes, anti-harassment procedures, and our code of conduct. And fundamentally, it is please be nice to each other and address technical arguments and not people. And that's about it. And so let's go on. And we're in Meet Echo. Please, we're a very small group. In the upper, I want to stop that. I want to start this. Yes. I want to share my thing. In the top left, you'll see there's an audio button. You can send video if you like as well. This is the stop and start share screen. This is for preloaded signs. And then you can put up your hand if you want to join the queue. We are a really small group. This button actually creates and destroys the audio stream, and it takes maybe 1.5 seconds to do. So I would suggest that you just push the button and then go to the bottom right here.
Hey, Michael, we were seeing like a loop of your screen, so it was rather psychedelic.
It was difficult to understand, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the new people could see that there is a audio in the upper left and an audio in the bottom right, and I suggest you just open your audio and then mute yourself locally. Welcome, Michael. So slides, are you ready, Karsten? We're going to go into that. Or Elliot, do you want to talk about, first of all, the SDF transports?
I can talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
Okay.
do.
Okay. While I am, somebody else will have to take notes. Okay. So I'm really pleased that Rohit and Braden were able to join the call. Rohit, Braden, and another person by the name of Bart Brinkman have been working on a draft that has finally hit the drafts directory. It's draft Brinkman NIPSI 00. Now, the purpose of this draft is really to provide what amounts to ALG functionality for non-IP protocols, so Zigbee or BLE, for instance. The value of the work is really that what we see right now is a bit of a game of what I call dongle dash. And dongle dash happens when you have a space in your AP for inserting a BLE radio or a Zigbee radio or even some proprietary radio. And usually these APs have at most 2 and generally 1 USB port for this purpose. Well, if you're deploying your APs all over the place and you happen to have more than one application, then this presents a problem. Now, what we think is appropriate is a bit of a gatewaying functionality in which we're content neutral. Right, that the infrastructure provides access to the applications. It provides access to the devices from the app, so the applications can reach them regardless of where they are. And so we really being Rohit, Braden, Bart, and I've helped out a little, a model for this purpose. that makes use. It's basically a RESTful interface today for control, and it's tied to also some MQTT in order to take events. Now, why is this interesting to ASDF? ASDF has been focused on creating a model, the SDF model. And now I think the next steps, if I understand correctly, would be to instantiate that model in different ways. And that being the case, you want some way to carry that instantiation, in particular for for both IP devices, of course, but also for non-IP devices. And this would be the way to do it for non-IP devices. So as we are pondering rechartering, what we're hoping is that this NIPSI draft fits the bill for part of the work. I don't think it fits the bill for all of the work, but certainly for part of it. And we'd like to have the working group consider expanding to cover that part. So that's our plan is really to take a few minutes of your time in Prague to go into a little bit more detail. This is, I think the purpose of this call was really to recharter, but I'm grateful to Michael and to Nicholas for allowing me to talk a little bit about this, because I think it might help set the right context as we go into rechartering. All right, that's it for me. I'm done for now. How about that?
Questions for Elliot? We're going to keep this maybe three or 4 minutes at most here.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we will have a non-IP segment at the Think to Thing research group meeting on the Friday before the IETF. And Elliot, I think you will be there as well. So maybe we can use that for some discussion as well.
Absolutely, and I apologize for not having turned on my camera for while talking. So yes, I will be present. Rohit won't yet have made it into the building. I think he'll still be flying in. But I will be present, and the only thing I ask is that I not be up first, because I'll be getting off the plane at like 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. So should we move to rechartering?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Elliot, for the presentation and stuff. Yeah. Let's try to squeeze this in on the meeting in Prague. We have a slot for you there, a short slot.
These are your slides that you want? There you go.
Yes.
Karsten.
Okay, thank you. I prepared 2 slides on the base SDF document, because we are still in working class code processing of that, and then I will talk about rechartering. So just a quick reminder that we essentially passed the working group last call on -16, but decided that we wanted to get some additional reviews. And we got a couple, one of which already is processed. That's David Navarro's review, and one hasn't been completely processed. And I apologize that I just couldn't fit this into the schedule before the internet draft cutoff on Monday. But we also have another pull request that is currently being discussed. And I think I will actually generate yet another pull request. And then at some point we should have a -17. And yeah, maybe we do another 1 week working class call on that. I don't know, that's for the chairs to decide. but the point is to submit -17 before Thanksgiving. And if people have problems with this procedure or see things that we still need to integrate into the base draft, this would be a good time to say that. Okay, so I move on to rechartering. So as the agenda suggested, I just looked at the documents that we have and tried to structure this into 4 different buckets. So we have one document that essentially is adding to the SDF infrastructure by using the concept of a mapping file. That's a persistent working title that we need to get rid of. But the point is there that we have a way to actually put a backpack on an existing SDF specification and add information that may be specific to an ecosystem or some application. So the base document, the base SDF model doesn't have to have pointers that point outwards, but instead the mapping file points inwards to the SDF, the base SDF spec, and adds information to that. And our typical application for this was that OMA has these object IDs, and object IDs obviously are not something that are cross ecosystem. So you would define a mapping file that adds those object IDs to an SDF specification, to an ecosystem independent SDF specification that you are making. So tools that actually translate ecosystem specifications into SDF might sort the document between general applicable that goes into a base model and ecosystem specific that goes into a mapping file, and that makes the base model easier to use. So that's something that is reasonably well understood, but we only have very, very few attempts of making our tools aware of this concept, and we don't have a good name for them. So that's something that I really would like to work on at some point. Now I have done something to my slides here, weird. Anyway, the other thing that we noticed as a to-do item is the class versus instance discussion. So how do we actually combine instance information with SDF class information? And how do we actually specify the existence and the structure of that instance information in the SDF model? So nobody has made a proposal for that. I think it's pretty easy to make a proposal, but making a good proposal will be a little bit more work. So this work doesn't even have a draft yet. We probably could come up with one in parallel with coming up for the new charter. So people have a basic idea of what we are trying to do there. So that's kind of infrastructure things that didn't belong into the base SDF document that we have been working with us calling, but are going along with it as part of the architecture. So the second thing we have been discussing is tool support, and one of those is the SDF compact notation draft. Now that could be an informational document, at least until we start using this in normative documents, because the JSON files are so hard to read. So I don't have a strong opinion here. We also have drafts, and I just listed only one here, that explain the ecosystem mappings, and we have one draft discussing a mapping between Yang and SDF. So that's useful. That's not currently work that we are pushing forward, but we have this knowledge base, and we at some point we should discuss what to do about that, and whether we want to have other drafts for other translators. So this is something that maybe could be mentioned in the charter, but it's not the main motivation to recharter. It's just something that we would add to that. The third thing we need to do is actually use the extension points we have in SDF to solve certain problems. And I think the first problem we have recognized is that SDF, the original SDF, has no good way to talk about links. But links are obviously very important. Where links may be real RESTful links we would use in a COAP-based environment, or HTTP-based environment, but they also may be some other form of pointing from one instance to another instance. And we would also discuss using links at the specification level. So we have a meta level links which are discussed by the ASDF relations draft, and we have links as the subject of the specification, what we are modeling there. So for instance, we could describe how a light switch is linking to the light that it actually controls. This work is reasonably advanced, probably needs some work before we can working class call, well, before we can adopt them, actually. And the question is this actually two drafts, or is it one draft? And how does it relate to the instance versus class support document? And finally, interestingly, we got a new submission, extended information of SDF for digital twin. I didn't put the draft name on there. That's not right. Sorry, but just search for the title in Data Tracker. And that's essentially providing location information you would want to add to instances. So you know what particular instance you are talking to. I think this is a specific case of a more general issue that as soon as you have instances, you need to have a way to name them and to provide identity to them. So we probably would discuss this in the context of the instance class support discussion, but of course the actual qualities also are relevant. So how do you actually describe those locations, and different applications may have different requirements here. So this is just a new submission. I don't think many people have looked at that. And that would also go into the charter. And then, of course, we have the NIPSI work, which might need a receptacle on our side, but I think we should first have the discussion in Prague before we define what that is. So basically, the plan we have right now is rechartering, doing the work, and then profiting from it. But we have to actually write text for the new charter. So that's my slides.
Thank you, Karsten, for presenting this. I think it's it's a good collection of what we have been sort of previously been sort of related work and so on. Any comments from the group? Michael Koster, please go ahead.
We don't hear you yet.
No, we don't. Wait, oh, there. It's for me. It's like a 5-second delay on the unmute. Yeah, if we're collecting items, I don't know how specific the charter needs to be, but there was one other item that I ran into in using SDF, and that is, I guess I'd call it custom syntax. It's not like adding vocabulary, but it's there was a standard way in programming languages of adding syntactical elements that map to existing elements of the language. I forget what it's called, but it's kind of a standard pattern. And I experimented with that in SDF. Basically, it's a way of putting, you know, your favorite term here instead of SDF property, SDF action, SDF event. It's pretty simple, but it turns out to be pretty powerful to sell SDF because you can have your own your own custom thing there that maps back to SDF. So there's kind of a question of, do we want to even open this up and have people define their own syntax and you know, have that translator needed in the tool chain? But I found it to be people will accept things that are sort of syntactically aligned with their other tools, and it's sort of a way of internalizing SDF that doesn't really promote it as an external standard quite as much. So I don't know, you know, whether that belongs even in the charter, but I thought I'd bring it up because now is the time, if we're going to charter, to do that. So I guess my question is, are we submitting, do we need, if we're submitting items, should I write this up and submit it? What's the process for furthering the discussion on this items?
Well, having a draft would help. So basically, we have an extension point for adding qualities. We don't have an extension point for adding new kinds of affordances. So we have property action event, but we currently don't have a way to add a fourth. But that actually should be going into the base document. So we should really hurry up creating that extension point.
I'm not sure it's even adding a type of affordance. It's just renaming the existing affordances. It's actually pretty simple. But I'll write it up.
Okay.
So I think that it's always easiest to decide if something is in charter or charter should be updated to include it if we have a really clear understanding of what it is. In other words, a draft. On the other hand, you don't really want to spend your time talking about writing a draft that is going to be out of scope at the end of the day. So I guess I would say that bring your ideas in any form, even if it's just 2 slides or something, and in enough detail that we can figure out what you're talking about and whether or not it fits. But a draft is perfect.
Sounds good. Okay, that sounds good. I have a working example also.
Yeah, that would definitely help.
So I guess one question is, do we, at this point, once we publish this document, have we actually done everything in our charter at this point? Or are there already items that we know we haven't, we still have to add? We don't have any more milestones, but that doesn't mean that we've done everything. Like it says, recent proposals to form an IETF formal description techniques research group might lead to another collaboration partner. Is that, where's that? I don't think that's happened. I don't think we've been through that.
UFMRG. That exists, but right now they are very focused on proving security properties of protocols. So it's a bit difficult to address them with formal description work that is not fitting into that particular mold. There actually will be something at the hackathon, I think, where you actually can work with one of the technologies that is sufficiently advanced that we could adopt it for doing this kind of formal specification and formal verification of security protocols more often.
Okay.
So I
Can
think
you
that
release the slides? I don't know how can I take them back. Can I take
well,
control back?
you can just press the X if you're a chair.
I don't have an X. Oh, there. No, I don't have an X.
Well,
I do have
Niklas is
slide
owning
control.
the slides right now, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
Gone.
I closed them.
Okay, that was weird. Sorry, I just wanted to put the charter on the screen here.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the research group is tied up doing something else, and then I missed what you said after that point.
Yeah, so they are mostly doing protocol verification right now, but that doesn't mean that they are not going to eventually start other work as well. But it's not something where we have a gap in our work. It's just an opportunity that we might be able to talk to them.
Right, I agree.
Hey,
What
hey,
about
Carson,
Wishy?
I'm sorry,
Go
just
ahead.
to interrupt. Which research group is that you're talking about?
UFMRG.
UFMRG, okay.
So what about this last sentence? I mean, I don't see anything here that we haven't done, but I also don't see anything that we have done in this area. I mean, it's happened. We've had lots of conversations back and forth. I just don't know if there's a deliverable that we're missing here.
Well, I think having a transport will certainly help. Not that I'm pushing anything here or anything like that.
Fair enough. I'm just trying to get at, before we start adding sentences to our charter, I'm trying to get at it. Are there things that we already said we would do, and the nature of that activity was either vague or didn't have a deliverable or doesn't need to have a deliverable? And just, before we start adding things, what I see is that, we might rewrite this last paragraph in the charter to say that we're focused on extensions, or what, I don't know. Probably all the rest of it is pretty motherhoodish and could stay mostly the same.
Yeah, so the actual content of the charter is the first paragraph after the heading, the ASDF working group.
Yeah.
The second paragraph just is a promise that we would speak to all these people, and we did speak to all these people. And we probably want to revise the list of people we speak to a little bit. But the real rechartering work is the first paragraph.
I don't know if you could hear my cat complaining about the rain outside, but anyway. So it seems that what we need to do in your step 2 is throw this into a GitHub or something and start to bash some of the text. Elliot, I guess, a transport would be something that would have to go in there. I didn't think we were ever going to do that, but that's up to discussion, obviously.
Yeah, putting this into our organization's repo as something that we can do pull requests at sounds really good. Let's do that next.
Okay. And I guess this is the paragraph that I'm jumping on, right? We do not deal with serializations at all, right? We're modeling the structure and semantics being interchanged, leaving the serialization to other standards, right? And I've had to explain that numerous times to in the last 2 years of ASDF working group. And I don't have a problem with changing that. I think we really have to be very conscious if we're doing that, which is to say, Elliot, that maybe you're supposed to be an existing IoT SDO somewhere else for your transport group.
I just don't happen to have one in my back pocket.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's as simple as Michael puts it here. So I think we should have this discussion on the Friday next week. And we have half a dozen drafts in T2TRG and core that kind of interact with the space. And I think we some of them are from 2019. So I think we really need to get these things in a structure that we can start to decide what should be left to other SDOs and what actually are those essences that we actually have to provide as the IETF here.
Yeah, from my perspective, the more that the IETF/IRTF provides as a core, the less the other standards organizations have to worry about redoing each other's work. So, which is a problem, right? And if they don't want to, if they want to redo each other's work, that's one thing. But if they're forced to redo it, that's a different thing. So, making use of core, for example, is not CBOR with appropriate RESTful interfaces, right? It seems to me that's a win as a horizontal function, and if we can provide other horizontal functionality as well, it will assist manufacturers and developers.
Yeah, I think the hard part is figuring out what that costs, because each one of us can create the N+1 standard in this place, but how do we actually get the red star of the 2016 meeting that started all this?
Right. The red star. Yeah. XKCD, what is it? 927 or something, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to put this we'll put the existing charter, which I think is in Markdown in the data tracker, into the working group chairs have a GitHub for the notes, I think. And we'll put it in there and post it on the list and make it clear where where pull requests should go to for that conversation. Ideally, I would hope that we will have 4 or 5 serious, edits to the charter, waiting for our in-person meeting in 2 weeks, right? I guess Nicholas and I will go through, and I think that, we can change the draft. We're about to publish it. There's some business up here that we can just tweak, I think, without a lot of conversation. Making it more historical, but I think it's down here that the new objectives need to be put in. That reasonable?
Yes. And we also can cut down the background stuff. I mean, our relationship to
Exactly.
didn't work out as much as we thought it might. And I'm still struggling with core SID. There's an ISG meeting tomorrow. So yeah, the Yang has been much more difficult than we thought, and yeah, we can probably.
So would you just strike this paragraph completely?
Let me read it and create a pull request, but probably yes,
Okay.
and put the word Yang somewhere else, just so it's clear we haven't forgotten it, but
We thought about it. Yeah.
it's not right now one of the ecosystems that we are really focusing on.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody else from the floor? That was really the only topic for today's meeting, is really talking about the charter and figuring out in this smaller group what we need to get ready for 2 weeks from now. I don't remember when our meeting is.
Yeah, sorry, I have still a bit of a cold, so I can't speak so much. But no, thanks a lot. I was thinking that I think we've sort of managed to collect all the kind of old kind of work we have talked about in the space. Should we try to have a reasonable draft then ready in 2 weeks' time, or whenever?
Well, what I think we should have is a series of somewhat well-reasoned pull requests that can be discussed at that meeting. I don't think we want to try to have a fait accompli for that. I don't think that benefits the IETF or the working group. I can't find our meeting. I thought we had a meeting
Monday
night.
17:30 to 18:30
It's
world
not
time.
not in my schedule. That's
Oh,
a bug.
actually, local time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we have the Friday meeting to do a little bit of work. We maybe can do a little bit of work at the hackathon, but we then need to be prepared for the ASDF meeting. And yeah, I agree that we don't want to present a new charter as a fait accompli, but I also think that we can remove all the sidetracks that will just waste our time during the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, the Yang thing was put there to explain the relationship to Yang based on comments on the previous charter. But maybe that doesn't, make any sense anymore. I'm okay with taking it away. Right.
Good.
Anything else? Oh, sorry.
Feel better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, I have a work meeting in 11 or something minutes, and
Yeah,
I have to be ready for it.
but okay.
So I'm going to disconnect. If you want to stick around, do that. But I think we're done.
I'm also pretty done here. So thank you all for calling in, and seeing you all in person or virtually in Prague in a week and a half times. I hope.
See you then.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.